This is the hour, the darkest place. Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world, good world gone bad. Half the people dying while the rest of us are splitting hairs. It's a good world gone bad.
So it's been a bit since the last vlog. I've been real busy with my high school kids doing their senior video, getting a lot of video downloaded, uploaded so they can access it. They've been great, really getting things done. Spending a lot of time on my other classes as well. Remote learning is a little bit of a challenge for everybody, but we're getting through it. So anyway, I think I actually started this project well over a month ago when I was walking by a water storage tank that we used to use to kind of store water in when I was doing some projects. I got my hands on this for, I think, free, and I don't know if it was getting tossed out or what, but I thought I could make some use out of it. I only used it for a little bit, and then it sat there for over 10 years at least. So looking at the metal frame on it and said, how can I use that? That seems like it'd be a waste to just get rid of this whole thing. Maybe I can recycle some of it, upcycle it, whatever it's called. As you saw, I cut it all up into pieces, and I'm going to use the metal frame of it to form a lattice structure for the corner of this outdoor shower that I built a little over a year ago, which was a fun project. I like using that barn board, just a fun little project. I've got a trumpet vine, which trumpet vines, it's odd, they don't like great soil, they prefer poor soil. Sometimes it takes 5 to 7 years for them to actually bloom, and I've been impatient. I've got a couple of them on the posts of my deck here, had them there for a few years, and they grow, but I can't seem to get them to grow up the posts. I've used small gauge wire and some screws to create something for them to hold on to. It just hasn't seemed like enough, and this seemed like it would really fit the bill. That and the corners were kind of rounded, so I think I can make it work with some plumbing pipe hangers, some screws, measure it up. I cut it all up, I got all the pieces fitted, I got them situated over here ready to go. So hoping to recycle some of the metal framing for trellis work on this, as well as use some of the leftover for trellis for cucumbers, as well as if I have extra as well to do maybe some tomato cages, things like that. Just put the metal to good use because it's pretty heavy gauge metal, and in the end I'm making use of something that I wasn't using. The bottom of that water storage thing is like a pallet, a heavy duty poly plastic pallet, so I'll use that for stacking wood. The top of it is kind of thin. I might use it just as something to cover one of the piles of wood. The plastic itself that holds the water, I'll probably end up having to cut that up and bring it to the recycle center, so that'll get recycled, but everything's going to end up being reused, which is kind of nice. So we'll get this started over here, and I'll let you see what it looks like. Alright, so there you have it. It was kind of a quick project once I had all the pieces and parts together and determined how I wanted to put it together. It took a long time for me to get it done, but I did wrestle a little bit with some of the metal up there. Would have been better to do it with someone else. Helped me hold stuff up, but it worked out. So don't like the shiny bits and pieces on there right now. I'm hoping those will rust up over some time. And besides, after the vine starts growing up at the base of that, it should grow up and across that really well. I think they grow over 15 feet long, and they have a lot of like orange trumpet shaped flowers on them. I have yet to see it happen, so I'm curious to see how that goes. Anyway, before we end this segment, I also wanted to give a little shout out to a couple of guys that are doing some creative stuff on Facebook as well. Tim Murray and Jay Materano, two guys that I got to know because I went to go see Tim Murray play at a band a long time ago in Lynn, and he must have met Jay through college, and Jay's girlfriend at the time brought a bunch of her friends, and I went to go see Tim play in the band, and we went with a bunch of friends, and it's actually how I met my wife. So they've kind of gone on their own separate ways. They have full-time jobs, but they're musicians, and they each play on their separate entities. And Tim has puts together, he's basically a one-man band, and he puts together a show on Facebook Live 3 times a week. I'll put the information down below. It's just kind of fun. It's an hour long, and he's very entertaining, an enjoyable watch, especially at a time like this. Helps pass the time, something to look forward to. And Jay also does the same thing. I think he plays for a band called Bare Bones. And he puts together a Facebook Live segment as well, about the same amount of time, an hour long. I'm not sure exactly when that is. Sometimes it's on Saturdays. It varies a little bit. But I'll put the information for him down below, and you should check him out. Kind of fun, something different to do. So maybe at some time in the future, I can put another segment together and do a follow-up on what this vine actually looks like and give you guys a peek. Maybe something you want to do at your house. As always, like and subscribe to the channel to see future videos that come out. And for my students out there, I'm hoping, again, this kind of motivates you a little bit to keep creative and keep creating and uploading stuff to me, because it makes a much more enjoyable experience from this whole thing that we're experiencing. So keep up the good work.